Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Hillbilly Proud, just coming to you to talk about what many people just refer to as these metal handle U.S. Army knives. There are a lot of them out there, millions and millions been produced over the years, especially by this company. These two examples are both Camillus. I just thought I would share an interesting little tidbit. If some of y'all are looking to add one of these to your collection. Now, this is a very in-depth topic. I don't have the time, and y'all don't want to watch a video that long, I promise. So, if y'all don't have one and you're interested in these, there's a lot of good info on them, and there's a pretty rich history of this knife. This is actually called the knife, pocket, general purpose. Now, the military does have a designated name, model number for these. It's the Mil-K-8675309, but we ain't getting into all that. For now, we're just going to call these the metal-handled Army knives, or knife, pocket, general purpose. These two examples are Camillus. This one is a 1974. This one is a 1972. Now, the main purpose of me shooting a video of these two knives is to help y'all if you're looking to purchase one. Now, these are great birth year knives, obviously. Camillus produced these from 57 to 2006, so most likely, if you're looking to gift somebody a heavy-duty U.S. made knife, you can find their birth year. Just a, cool gift idea. They're everywhere. Now, finding the specific year for said birthday boy or gal might pose a challenge, so start looking early. Plan ahead. But, like I was saying, the main reason I wanted to show you these two particular models is because if you're looking at these, I don't know, on an online auction, or if you're in the back of the crowd at an auction, y'all can see one big difference right here, looking at these two knives. The thumb stud on the cap lifter screwdriver is on the 72 model, and not present on the 74. The nail nick is moved forward. Still has a nail nick on the 72, but it's got the thumb stud. I promise you, you don't want to try to open it with the nail nick towards the back of the blade. That sucks. You don't have no leverage. But the reason it is significant is because 1973 was the last year the thumb stud was incorporated. So if y'all are just eyeballing these from afar, most of these are still in pretty good condition. New old stock, military surplus, So if you see them from afar and you see a thumb stud, 73 or before. Just thought I would share that little tidbit with you. If you're trying to buy one and you're not actually putting hands on it, or you can't see the date, 1973 and before, thumb stud. 74, no thumb stud. The more you know. Now, this pattern started around late 44, during the World War II years, and was produced until 48 Then there was a lull until 57 when Camillus picked up the contract and began manufacturing these again. With the exception of the rare Camillus 49 marked prototype. They're pretty hard to come by. Here's an excerpt from the book, The Complete Book of U.S. Military Pocket Knives from 1800 to the present by Michael W. Silvey on this knife. Now this is a very brief and incomplete description of this, but you can see a picture of 5 of these knives, all of them having a thumb stud except for the far right Camillus. The knife pocket general purpose can provide the collector with an almost endless opportunity for collecting and study, and that is no joke. These knives above are from left to right, made by Ulster. Camillus 1958, Imperial 1966, Camillus 73, that's the last year with the thumb stud, and a Camillus 76, no thumb stud. Besides the World War II versions, other makers, names like Queen and Schrade, have graced these knives. So Queen and Schrade are later produced. Not a lot of those out there either, compared to the Camillus knives anyway. Many of these knives have been sold commercially, and some have been made by firms not supplying the military. Those that display USMC, USN, or USAF on the handle have no real military affiliation. I don't completely agree with that last sentence. One of the first contracts was a Marine contract, Marine and Army contract, so that last sentence is not completely true. Now, it was listing Ulster, Camillus, Imperial for the World War II versions, and it left out 2 major components there. That's why, guys, always cross-reference. Always do your research. Don't take everything in a book for granted, because there's always mistakes in literature about knives. Always cross-reference. Because there are Kingston-made knives, which is, of course, the joint venture from Ulster and Imperial. And there are some Stevenson-made knives around the 44 to 48 World War II era when the original contracts and design come out. A lot of these during the lulls and with overstock, parts were put together and marketed for civilian markets. There's some BSA, some Boy Scouts examples of these. And with Camillus having made these up till 2006, many of the Camillus knives were marketed for civilian markets. There's even one from the 2000s with the American flag. It's pretty neat. Now, you see a lot of these with broke springs, and don't let that lead you to believe these are junk knives. The reason these springs break is because when you open these blades, they have a lot of lift. These things, pretty snappy, pretty stout springs. This one's really stout. And the reason these springs break is from people having this blade open and the punch blade open, having opposing blades open on the same springs. Puts a lot of strain on them. You generally don't want to do that to any knife. And that's the reason you see these with broke springs. So if you have one of these, don't do that. Or actually, don't do that to any knife. I was trying to make this a short and sweet. We're getting a little windy on it though, so we're dragging this out. I just wanted to point out one more thing. Like I said, a lot of history here, a lot of reading to do, a lot of research to do, if y'all enjoy that kind of thing like I do. I'd highly recommend it. Now, here is one of those civilian examples that I am having a hard time placing, because this is obviously made with the same parts. This is just a stockman, like a cattleman's knife. Now, these are not Camillus parts though. Notice the brass pins in the Camillus knives. This knife has steel pins. Now, the 49 Camillus had some brass liners, and the Kingston knives did, the Ulster marked and the Imperial marked. But the 57 and onward Camillus knives had all steel. Notice this knife has a steel or a brass liner and steel pins. In this photo, this Ulster knife has steel pins. This Imperial knife has steel pins, and they do have brass liners. And the Kingston, Ulster, and Imperials, and I'm assuming the Stevenson did too. I've never held one, never seen one. And the Kingston marked knives will be marked on the bell. There are some Kingston etched blades. Those are pretty rare. Anyway, back to this little mystery knife. This knife has no stamp, no etch, no trace of an etch that I can see. But Ulster, you know, after the merger with Imperial to make the Kingston brand, was basically under the Kingston umbrella. And I see some very similar patterns from Ulster, but I've not been able to identify this specific knife. Even the pattern on the handles are the same as the Imperial and the Ulster knives. They differ just a little bit from the Kingston knives. And I don't know the origin of this little dude. It stumped me. I've researched this one for hours and hours. If anyone out there can help me out on this one, I would greatly appreciate it. But I know this dude is made from Ulster and Imperial / Kingston Imperial brands parts of the knife pocket general purpose. Anyways, guys, remember, thumb stud, no thumb stud, 1973 or before with the thumb stud, 74 after without. Sorry I'm drawing this out so long. Just doing what I like to do, talk about pocket knives. And heck, here's one more. Here's a little bonus. Here's one of those 5th pocket carry knives. It says horn handles. It's a little guy. 5th pocket, man, you don't even know it's there. It finds its way into mine quite often. Back to opening both blades on a single spring that I just told y'all not to do. I'm doing it for video purposes, and this is a quality knife. This is one of them bird knives that I was talking about. They seem to catch my eye quite often. You see Ross Free and the Kissing Crane trademark. Robert Class, Silingen, R for Ross Free. A beaut of a vintage Kissing Crane. This one's going to date pre-72. And if y'all want more info on dating Kissing Cranes, y'all show up for a Stag Sunday. We're going to talk all about it and show some awesome crane knives. But anyways, guys, this is Hillbilly Proud. Hope y'all enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Just in case you were wondering about these or wanting to add some to your collection, man, read up on them. There's a lot of history, a lot of info on them. This is Hillbilly Proud. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.